Welcome all. In this class, we will discuss about electric flux density, Gauss law and Gauss law applications. Okay. So coming to the electric flux density, so we'll discuss about the Faraday's experiment. Faraday conducted an experiment, the setup which consisted of a pair of concentric metallic sphere with dielectric material inside. Faraday found that the total charge on the outer sphere was equal in magnitude to the original charge placed on the inner sphere. First, the inner sphere was charged. So the charge on the inner sphere was transferred to the charge on the outer sphere. So the outer sphere was not at all given any charge, but the charge on the inner sphere was transferred to the outer sphere. Okay. So that there was some sort of displacement from the inner sphere to the outer sphere, and this displacement is called the displacement flux or electric flux. So the electric flux is equal to the charge. Okay, the displaced flux is equal to the original charge which was on the inner sphere. So psi equal to q. Psi is the electric flux and q is the charge. So this is the Gauss law. The Gauss law states that the flux emanating from a surface is equal to the charge enclosed by that surface. So the flux density is flux per unit area. So that is D equal to Q by 4 pi R square AR. And the electric field intensity is Q by, already we saw that the electric field intensity is Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 R square AR. So the relation between flux density and the field intensity is D equal to epsilon 0 into E in free space. Okay, for other materials D equal to epsilon into E. So this is the relation between the flux density and the field intensity. So considering the Gauss law, as we have discussed, the electric flux passing through any closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. So this diagram shows the flux. This is the charge enclosed, and this is the flux emanating from the surface is ds. And the normal, so the flux density is emanates from the surface in the normal perpendicular direction. So this is ds normal, and this del S is the differential surface. So the total flux passing through del S is ds into del S. Flux passing through the surface is ds into del S. So psi equal to, according to Gauss law, psi equal to surface integral of ds dot ds equal to charge enclosed equal to q. That means the charge, that is the flux emanating from a closed surface is equal to the charge enclosed by that surface. This is the Gauss law. So line charge. So we can have different types of charge distribution. For a line charge, q equal to integral rho L dl, and for a surface charge, q equal to surface integral rho S ds, and for a volume charge distribution, the charge enclosed equal to volume integral of rho V dv, and Gauss law states that psi equal to q. The flux emanating from a surface is equal to the charge enclosed by that surface. And applications, as far as the applications of Gauss law are concerned, Gauss law is useful to find flux density from the knowledge of enclosed charge, and it is also used to derive electric field intensity from the knowledge of charge and surface, and also it is useful to find the enclosed charge from the knowledge of either D or E. So we can find D, E from Q or Q from D or E. So these are the applications of Gauss law, and we will see some few applications of Gauss law. So consider this may be considered also as a Gauss law proof, and also a point charge at origin of a spherical coordinate system. Consider a point charge located at origin of a spherical coordinate system. So the field intensity due to a point charge is given by, according to the previous thing we have learnt, the field intensity due to point charge is E equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 R square AR. Okay. So since D equal to epsilon 0 A, the relation between electric flux density and the field intensity is D equal to epsilon 0 E. Therefore, D equal to, so this epsilon 0 and epsilon 0 will be getting cancelled. So flux density is given by Q by 4 pi R square AR. Okay. So at the surface of the sphere, ds equal to Q by 4 pi A square AR. So where A is the radius of the sphere. So consider this. This is the radius of the sphere is A. So this is the differential surface ds, and the flux emanating from the surface is ds, capital DS. The flux emanating from the surface is ds, and the angle between the differential element is theta. Okay. So now we consider, we will derive using the Gauss law, we will derive what is the field due to this point charge in a spherical origin of a spherical. The charge is located at the origin of the spherical coordinate system. So here this is the point charge located at the origin of the spherical coordinate system. So the differential surface for a sphere is r square sin theta d theta d phi. So this is the differential surface ds, which is since the radius is a, it is a square sin theta d theta d phi. So this is the differential surface, and the flux is ds dot ds. So consider flux is ds dot ds. So already we have ds equal to q by 4 pi a square, and ds is a square sin theta d theta d phi ar. So these two a square and a square will be cancelled. So you will be having q by 4 pi sin theta d theta d phi. So now you integrate this. So to find integral, according to Gauss law, integral d dot ds equal to q. Okay. So you integrate this. So this is a surface integral. You have to integral it twice. So for variation theta and phi variation. So theta varies between 0 to pi, and phi varies between 0 to 2 pi. Okay. So sin theta d theta d phi. So you are able to obtain the expression as q. So sin theta minus cos theta 0 to pi minus 1 there is 2. You will be having 2. So this 2 and 4 pi will be getting cancelled, q by 2 pi. Again, if you substitute 2 pi for phi, 2 pi and 2 pi will be getting cancelled, and you will be getting the final expression d dot ds equal to q. That means integral d dot ds equal to q. So we are able to prove Gauss law that the flux emanating from a surface equal to charge. Integral d dot ds equal to q. So this is a expression for Gauss law. Next we will another one application, infinite line charge. Previously we have seen about the derivation of infinite line charge, okay, in cylindrical coordinate system. So again, based on Gauss law, how we can prove this? Now we are going to do this. So for any application of Gauss law, we have to consider a Gaussian surface. So we have to consider a Gaussian surface, and this is the Gaussian surface for an infinite line charge. So consider a cylinder. So the Gaussian surface is considered to be a cylinder, right circular cylinder. The length of the right circular cylinder is L, and the radius of the cylinder is rho. So this is the Gaussian surface. So we have to consider Gaussian surface to derive the field due to line charge. Okay. So this is a Gaussian surface, and the flux emanating from a surface is d. D is constant in magnitude and everywhere perpendicular to the cylindrical surface. The radius is rho and the length of the cylinder is L. The line charge is rho L. Okay. So we substitute q equal to ds dot ds equal to, so for the cylindrical surface we have lateral sides as well as top and bottom surfaces. Three surfaces, lateral surface. So that is sides and top and bottom. Okay. So we have to evaluate three terms, sides, top and bottom. Considering the top and bottom surface, this ds will be equal to 0. So we have only the lateral sides. So for the lateral sides, it is rho d phi dz. So the ds value is rho d phi dz. Okay. So rho d phi dz, and we integrate between z equal to, so here for z the variation between, so z varies between 0 to L, and phi varies between 0 to 2 pi. Phi varies between 0 to 2 pi. So integrating this, we will be having ds 2 pi rho L, or d rho equal to q by 2 pi rho L. ds equal to d rho equal to q by 2 pi rho L. So in terms of charge density rho L, the total charge enclosed is q equal to rho L into L. As we know, the line charge means q equal to rho L into L. Okay. So from this you equate these two. So here we have one expression for q, here we have another expression for q. So equating these two, we will be having d rho equal to rho L by 2 pi rho, or from this d equal to epsilon into E. So E equal to rho L by 2 pi epsilon 0 rho. So this is the expression we are obtaining for field intensity due to infinite line charge. So we have already proved this, and we have already found this. Now we have proved this through the Gauss law, the Gauss law, and considering a Gaussian surface around the infinite line charge. So infinite line charge is rho L by 2 pi epsilon 0 rho. Similarly, we can prove for flux density in a coaxial cable. Coaxial cable, as we know, two conducting cylinders are there, one with inner radius A and another one with inner radius B, and the flux density is given by A rho S by rho. So we will derive this. So symmetrical conditions show that d rho component is present, only in the rho component is present. There is in another directions, phi and z directions, there is no component of d is present. Only in the radial component we have. So length is L, radius is rho, where rho varies between A and B. So here in between the two cylinders, the radius varies between A and B. Okay, radius varies between A and B. So this is with the Gaussian surface. So we have Q equal to ds into 2 pi rho L, 2 pi rho L, okay. So since this is the perimeter 2 pi rho into length of the cylinder is L. So Q equal to ds 2 pi rho L. The total charge on the length L of the inner conductor is Q equal to double integral 0 to z equal to 0 to L, phi equal to 0 to 2 pi rho s a d phi dz, which is equal to 2 pi a L rho s, okay. So simplifying this, we will be having ds equal to a rho s by rho, where rho lies between a and b, the radius lies between a and b. So if the radius lies between a and b, the expression for the flux density is a rho s by rho a rho. If the outer of the coaxial cable, so in the outer cylinder, how to find the charge? The charge enclosed in the total charge on the surface, that is in the outer cylinder, how to calculate. So this can be found out by the condition that every line of electric flux starting from the charge on the inner cylinder must terminate on a negative charge on the inner surface of the outer cylinder. Okay, so Q outer cylinder equal to minus 2 pi a L rho s inner cylinder. Okay, so equating these two, we are able to obtain rho s outer cylinder equal to minus a by b rho s inner cylinder. So this is the relation between the charge on the surface of the outer cylinder and the charge on the inner cylinder. Okay, so next we have to be able to derive the field due to coaxial cable, electric flux density in the coaxial cable. Next, another application is infinite sheet of charge. So here is the infinite sheet of charge, and again we are considering a Gaussian cylinder, Gaussian surface. So we are taking this is the infinite sheet of charge ds, and a Gaussian surface is considered where the flux is emanating as d in the z equal to 0 plane, xy plane, that is in the xy plane the surface is present. Okay, so here we have infinite sheet of charge. So d dot ds equal to 0. So no component in the x and y directions. No component in the x and y direction. Only the component present is z component. So d dot ds equal to dz dx dy, az dot ax equal to dz dx dy. So d equal to dz minus az for bottom surface. For the top surface, we have dz dx dy. dz dx dy. So simplifying this, you will be having for the top surface ds dx dy plus for the bottom surface dz dx dy. So which is equal to area of the surface. A equal to a dx dy is the area of the surface. So q equal to 2 dz a. From this we can find q equal to rho s into a. So rho s equal to 2, already we have rho s, here we have q equal to 2 dz a. So equating these two, we are able to find that d equal to rho s by 2 az coulomb per square meter. So this also we have already proved that rho s by 2, the field due to infinite sheet of charge is rho s by 2 flux density, and when we go for field intensity, rho s by 2 epsilon. So we are able to prove the Gauss law. This will complete. Thank you.